the attainment company is a manufacturer of the software, and this is where you would go to get support, technical support. You get video trainings and about the application. And so let me just go there real quick and let's just visit, and we'll come back to let you see a little bit about the attainment company. So let's go here, and here it is. And here's, I mean, this is, I'm not going to go to every screen, but I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what this website's all about. There's curriculum, technology, and if you click on these buttons, like I clicked on curriculum, and then you can see the down box, there's the type of curriculum that you could learn more about. On your free time, I think this is a good site to visit just to keep up if you want to learn more about the GoTalk Plus, the GoTalk Plus application. Okay, here we go. Okay, moving on. Now, the learning objectives. By the end of this training, you will be able to identify individuals who will be able to benefit from this application, create a communication book, navigate the editor and revise page layouts, customize buttons in the communication tabs, and create a phone script and listen to it in the player mode. Okay. So there wasn't anything, I just had some talk there. So I'm on to considerations for selection. Can you guys see that slide?
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Great. Now, considerations for selection for this particular application is someone who wants to develop their communication skills, experience, they may have experience with mid-tech, augmentative, and alternative communication, AAC. They prefer videos, pictures, and peoples and symbols, and someone who may require larger targets and pictures, for example. Some of the nice benefits that are include a consistent layout of icons that allows for better planning to learn the location of icons, and icon sequences that represent words and phrases. There's a vocabulary builder, which allows you to select a list of words you want to teach and show the icons for words that are most used. And it allows users to work with the Symbol 6 images. Okay. So let's get started with actually taking a look at the GoTalk Now Plus application. Now, what you're seeing there now is just the home page that you'll see, and I'll go through the boxes and explain their function. This is where you would typically come in once you load the application, and we'll talk about how this all plays together. So let's just kind of look at it, just kind of really look at it and see what we're doing. So on the top, you have a player. And what's happening is you're creating these communication pages through communication books, and you're playing them in the player. So once you get what you want, you get it the way you want, you're going to put that into the player. And it's very easy to go back and forth, and I'll show you how we'll do that. And then you just play these communication books to answer or communicate in whichever way really works out for you. Now, that's the communicate, and at the bottom is so when you first come into this application, you get what you call a default book. Now, if you look at the very bottom there where it says 36 core words, I'm going to actually open up the application shortly so that you can see that. But that's where your default book would come. Those are where the communication books really live, and we'll go into so that you could see more detail, but I just want you to be aware of that bottom piece. Now, it doesn't look like it's much there, but as we unfold this a little bit more, you'll see how that all ties together with these communication books. And then there's the settings. The settings obviously are just used for, to set the settings for the actual application, and we'll go into that. And then there's the downloads. Now the downloads, that's where you're going to obtain core words. You can purchase image libraries, download pre-made communication books for a fee. A lot of this are free. There are some that are free, but there are some that cost. And you can obtain text-to-speech applications. And then there's the download. We did that. That's where the core words at. And then there's the help. And so the help is where we're going to get more information about the application. And there's a help manual in there, and we'll open that up shortly. Okay, so let's do this. Let me go back. Let's create a communication book. So I'm going to go into the app. There we go. Now we're into the app. We've talked about the player, the editor, the settings, the downloads, and the default book. Now we're going to actually go into them. What I normally like to do is I like to come right into the meat and the potatoes. Is touch the bottom where it says default book. And when you touch that, let's see if it was working. Okay. Mine isn't working right now. Let me try it again. Let's see here. Can you guys see the book? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to tap on a book, but it's not allowing me to open it up, and that's a key piece. So I'm trying to open up where it says default book. Let me see if none of the apps seem to be working. Hold on just a second here. Let's try it again. Yeah, the apps are not. So I'm pushing on buttons to try to launch these boxes, but it doesn't seem to be working. Try something else. Let me close it, and then we'll try to open it again. There we go. There we go. Ah, perfect. Okay, the second time is a charm. So when we come into the home page, this is where we're at. But if you look at the very bottom where it says default book, tap for more. These are where you're going to share your communication books. And you can either share them or you can work on them. So this is like a work in progress type of application. Now you say, well, wait a minute, Carl, you have all these apps. What's going on here? Well, you typically are just going to come in and you're going to have a default book. But over time, you're going to be playing with these books or revising the books to fit your communication needs. So therefore, you may have different books. So what I really recommend is when you come in, this application, let me explain this. This application, once you start modifying books, it saves it right away. And it's hard to get back to normal. So what I would recommend is when you first come into these communication books, the default is just to rename it right away so that you can play with the book, but you also have the original copy there. Let's just actually do one to show you how that works. So I was saying that you came in, let's see, the default book is right there, right? So you see the little arrow on the right where it has the arrow button going to the right where it says default book. So I'm going to tap that button. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the book. Okay. And it says, well, okay, well, you want to duplicate it. What do you want to call the book? Let's say I'm just going to call it, just for this demonstration, it's just going to be Carl. Back up. So I'm going to back up. I'm pushing the back button. And a default book, I'm just going to call it Carl Test Book.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Should we be creating one of these as well as a test? Or just observing?
You can actually try it if you want to do it. This is really important because what I'm trying to do, again, like I said earlier, is to rename a book so that because once you start making changes in these default books, the changes are instantaneous and you can't undo them. So that's why you're going to have a lot of books. But if you're going to want to play with these books, just rename it and keep renaming it. And then you can always delete the books later if you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to call it this. But I always have the original to start from. So then I push duplicate. And then if I look under this communication book, I'm going to go with default book, and there should be a test. You see at the very bottom, that's the book. Now watch when I tap on the test communication book. Look what happened at the bottom of the communication page. It says, hey, Carl, you're in the test communication book. Right away, you're there. Snap, crackle, pop, you are there. And that's a key piece to this application, is to really be aware about what communication book are you in. And you can make books, and I'm going to go through some more about how to add into these communication books. But for right now, that's a key piece. So I would say rename it to whatever you think that will be something that's going to be significant for you to remember. But I would keep it default, because that'll remind you that it was part of a default that you renamed. And you can choose any name that you like. Okay. Like I said, first-time users, you're going to have a default book. But right now, I have lots of books because I've added books to them, and I will go into how that all works. Okay, let me just go. Let's back out of there. So if you tap anywhere on the book, that's how you're backing out of what I just did. So once I touch test communications, I touch in the green, and I'm backing out, just like that. So let's see here. Go back. Okay. So now let's go into the actual book. As I mentioned, the player is, you're going to play the communication books, and we're going to play a little bit more with that as we start to develop book. We'll bring it back to the player to show you how that works. Now remember, I'm in the test communication books. So if I push page editor, I'm in the page editor for the test communication book. So let's push page editor, and it brings me to what's already in the book. You say, well, Carl, I'm not getting this. Where are we at now? Well, we're in the editor of the test communication book. And I will go through all these screens as we move along, but I just want to kind of keep you in tune to where we're at. So we're just going between the editor and the communication book. To get back, you see the home button on the left? Now, first of all, let me back up. They say that you're supposed to be able to use 3 fingers to go between the player and the editor. So let me see if that works. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it won't. So I'm going to take 3 fingers on this page and try to pull down, and see it doesn't grab there, then it doesn't there. Oh, it doesn't do it there. Go back. Hold on. So my screen is grayed out, and I'm trying to get out of this, and it's all gray, so I can't see it. And I've never seen this happen before, so just bear with me. So I'll go back. So somehow it's all gray. The whole screen is cleared out. So let me try to go out and come back in, because it is acting really weird. Can you guys see it's just like fuzzy, the screen?
Yeah, it's all fuzzy. You're gonna have to.
So let me go out and come back in. I've never actually seen this happen before, so let's do this. I'll close it. Then I'll just launch it again, and I'm back. And I'm still on the test communication book. So that's the editor, that's the player, how to go back and forth. If you hold your finger down, what I was trying to show you, and I'm going to go back to the editor. If you see I'm in the editor on this first page, this called this phone script. If you see the little home button, this helps you navigate. If you want to get back to the home page, you hold that button down for 7 seconds. That has always worked for me. You hold it down at least 7 seconds, and I'm going to do that, and it should take me back. I'm just going to keep holding. let go. Doesn't do it. Hold it again for 7 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. It comes back. Some of my instructions say if you hold it down until it's like next Friday, it'll go back eventually. But it's supposed to be 7 seconds. So this is just taking us between the player and the editor. That's all it's doing right there. Is there any questions about the player and the editor? The editor is where we're going to edit communication pages, but we're just showing you how to get back and forth between the two. The settings button next door here is the settings in the app. Now, these are the ones that I have in green that you see are the ones that are actually enabled. And the ones that you see grayed out are not enabled. Let me go back there. And so you can play. I've got the jump to button, the quick start. If you look up under buttons, under settings, it's the first is buttons, and then the next group of tasks or player settings. And I'm just taking my finger. Listen, I'm taking my finger and touching lightly on the screen and just dragging up. That's what I'm doing to see what's on or what's off. Sometimes you may want to do the buttons to behave, or you want the application to work a certain way. You would come here to make sure that whatever you're trying to do is enabled through this process. There's accessibility there. There's scanning. I have some things turned off. I won't go into each of them, but that's what we have. Express bar, continue. But these are the options. And that's it. So I'm just pushing up and down. Now, when you're done and you want to get out, just push done. That takes you to settings. Let's look at the downloads. Pushing the downloads. These are downloads. And the downloads are where you're going to get core words. So let's take a look at the core words. These are core words, are books that are field tested strategy to begin teaching English language for students. And you can choose a layout to start from and build your communication books. And so they have some core words, and we're going to look at one of them. So let's just push on the button, and I'll show there. And it says, here are some core words that you can use. Now, the core words include, teaches you high tech, wanna go, stop. So let's just look at a book. We can add a book. I guess you have to add it. I don't think you can just look at it. You have to add the book. So let's just add that book. 4 words. And I'm going to go create. And it says it's already there. So I'm just walking you through it. You can do 4 words, 9 words, 16 words, and 36 words. So let's back up and go look at that communication, because that's a communication book. Let's go look at it and see what's actually going on in that 4 core words. So I'm going to back out to downloads. I'm going to close. Remember on the bottom here, this is your communication books. I'm going to tap that one time and I'm going to look. Oh, there's the 4 core words right there. I'm going to launch it. So I'm going to open that up and look at the bottom where it said it changed 4 core words. Carl, you are now in the 4 core words communication books. Right away, I'm there. So I'm going to touch and agree and I'm out. Now, I want to go see what's in that book. So let me go into the editor. I could play it, but I want to see it first. So I'm going to go to edit, page edit, and look. Those are the core words that are already there. So I can go and look. I'm taking the bottom. It says, and the it words up. These are some of the core words that are in there. Now we can modify. Those are buttons that you're looking at. We can modify those buttons. But what we're doing right now is we're just walking through, looking at how can we add communication books that can help us communicate. These are all pre-done, and a lot of times the wording's in there. I won't go into playing it right now because as we move through this presentation, we will actually do a demonstration of how that works. Is there any question about just adding communication books to, um, adding communication books? Let's just do some more here. Those are downloads. Let me push downloads again from the home page. Click. Now there's image libraries. Let's click on that. And here's some image library. Now the Go Talk image library, this is one that I would add right away, because this is, if we don't see a cost, it's my understanding that there is no cost. And this is one that it actually says free download. I would put that in there because you can use images, and we're going to actually see how those image libraries work out as we work further into the presentation. The next one is Thimble 6. If you remember earlier in the presentation we talked, this is one of the benefits or the good features about this book is that you have symbol sticks, and there's 12,000 images there. And so there's something there. I would download those right away. And how to download them? Tap on it. Okay. It's not working right now, but it'll ask you to add the book, and that's how you would add it, and it will add it there. I actually already have it there, so it's being a little stubborn today, so it doesn't allow me to add it again. Okay, so I'll push back, and I can close. Now there's some pre-made, you can see there's some pre-made communication books there. We tap on that. And here's some more, but these pre-made communication books, you can see there's a cost. And I suspect you could buy those at the Apple Store. So you could read through and get some information about the communications book, but I wouldn't tap on that because it would, especially if someone already has an Apple ID, it will probably just start to charge to your account. I think best for you to just go out and read up on, say, for example, AAC to go and read up on it before you actually download the software.
What I see, period. It says downloading, period.
Okay, so that's how you do the pre-made communication books.
Just FYI, period.
So I'm going to back out this one. There's all-day trainings, that's tactile talk, all of it in this pre-made communication books. Pushing the back download button, I'm on the top left-hand corner, I'm going to push out. And then there's, if you look at the very bottom, there's text-to-speech voice shop. Let's click on that. And remember we talked about earlier that you have all the languages. Here's how you would select the languages for your player. Now, right now, you have all these languages to select from. And if you notice down, I have selected Samantha English, and you'll hear her voice when we go to the player, okay? But if you wanted to change, you have some different options there. To back out of this, touch the green part of the screen and you're backed out. Okay. So we're there. Now, the one thing I like about this application is the help button. And we're going to jump into this right now because I just really like how this is laid out. So if I click on the help button, it jumps right there and says, what do you want to do? Pretty much. Okay. Video tutorials and tips, an overview, and user guides. And I'm just going to go over overview. And this is just an overview about the book, high-level overview. Actually, it's more detailed than anything. And it just explains it. And I'm just going and scanning up to let you see that if you want to know about different topics, this is where you could find that out. Okay. Communication pages, settings, communication books, and just an overview. I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to go back to help, and I want to use a user guide. Now, this is, to me, one of the most valuable tools because it really spells things out for you. I mean, you got a nice table of contents about labels, creating message locations, and seeing communication pages, removing and sharing communication books. It's just all spelled out. And when you go down further, it breaks it out into sections so that you can actually see in more detail of how to make or how to get more information about how to do that type of task. And it just spells it out And I'm just going to go slow. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but I will touch on here because when we go through the applications, I'm going to go through this a little bit more detail. But this is just to let you know that there's references for you to get additional information about the Go Talk Now Plus app. And so if you forget and you're trying to explain, this quick start button it's very good. This quick start 1.1 shows you what the pages are, the home page, page options, page number. I'm looking at the page 1 down there, manage pages and thumbnails, add vocabulary, and the plus button. Okay, so I'm gonna close help, and that pretty much gets me up. Now, there's one other button there. If you look on the right bottom corner, it's the backup. Now let's just push that button and see what happens. So here's where you would back up. So your communication books, you're developing over time. You're spending a lot of time and energy going on and changing things around. You don't want to lose that information because it takes time to develop these books and to test them out before you play them. So you can back them up. You can either go through a Dropbox, Google Drive, or you can back it up to your computer. So this is just something that you'd want to remember as you start to save your work, that you have a place to back it up. And it would be good in case something happens to the application, heavens forbid, because you'd have to start over if you didn't have an opportunity to back it up. Okay. So to get out of there, I'm just going to push the cancel button there. Boom, we're right there. That is an overview of what you're seeing when you come in to the Go Talk Now Plus. Now, before we move forward, are there any questions at this point? Okay. Hearing nothing, I'll just move forward. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about navigation. The navigation, and we're going to go into the pages here. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the page editor and the player. Now, the editor, there's certain things we're going to do there, and there's things that we're going to do in the player. So I'm going to actually go, remember, I'm still in 4 core words. I don't want to be there anymore. I'm going to get out of that. I want to go to my default page because that's where I've done a lot of work. I'm going to click there. I'm going to look for Carl's default page, which right there. And right now, you can look at the bottom. I'm there. Click on the green. I'm there. So if I go into the editor, I'm on the default book. That's the one I'm working on. Okay, let me just look here. Okay. So let's go back to the presentation here. Hold on. Let's see here. Go back to the presentation. Okay. So we're going to move on. So let's talk about this page editor. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we are going to go in and we're going to get to this page editor and we're going to walk our way through how that all works. So this screen shows you that you would click on the editor, but then when we get there on the right part of this slide, player editor page. Let's go ahead and look at that right now. Going back to the actual application. Boom. I'm in the default book, page editor, and I'm here on Carl's page. This is one of the pages that I've been working on, and that's why I say these pages, sometimes they take time to develop, but there are tools that we can help us develop them quicker. But for right now, this is just a manual page that I've been working on. And I call it Carl's home page. Now on the very bottom there, on the left, you have the home button. And as we discussed before, if you want to play something, we're going to show you how this plays in the player. To navigate, you have 2 choices. Take your 3 fingers and pull down, which again, it never seems to work for me, or hold the home button for 7 seconds and it will get you back to the home page, the default page for this application. The next button I'm touching here is the page options page, and we'll walk through some of these, how that works out. We'll walk through how the page option page works out. And then there's the Carl's home page. That's the page, it's called the page number, but I just renamed it. The stack of pages is called pages right there. I just tapped it and tap it back. And then the next button I tap. These are core words, but mine says quick buttons. And I just think that they're one and the same. Core buttons, quick buttons. And these are buttons that you would use to make core vocabulary words. So core vocabularies are the most common words that you might use. So for example, you might use, hold on, go back. I will get to that slide too. I'm trying to do too many things at once. But anyways, these are the quick, these quick buttons, the core vocabularies. You may be in a communication page and you want to get to something quickly. You don't have time to look around. So you're going to put the things that you may say the most. Yes, no, my name is this, and or I don't know. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that as we move forward, okay? So that's how that goes. Let's go back and see how this communication page plays in a player. This is my first page, and then we'll go out and we'll develop one. So, oops, sorry. Hold down the home button for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let it go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it goes. We're back. I want to go into the player. I'm still in the default page. I push player, and it gets me to this page. So watch what happens. I push down the button.
My name is Carl.
Hold on. Pushing the DOR button.
I work at DOR. I love to watch basketball. I love chocolate cake and ice cream.
Now, obviously, this is just elementary demonstration, but the books can be developed to do and say whatever you want because they're customizable. So you can make it any way you want. And this is just my home page, but I could add more. Back, we're almost done. The other slides we're going to go through relatively quickly because most of it is just a refresher of what we've already done work on, but I will go through this right now. Right now, let me get my notes together here. Design. Just let me get situated here. My notes. Where is it? Just a second here. Design whole messages. Just trying to find my stuff on my note screen here. Okay, great. So the whole message complete sentence button, let me get my notes. Okay. They describe whole messages. And so we actually did an example. If you remember, I took you to the player and I wrote, my name's Carl, I like chocolate cake. And the purpose of these whole messages, it just helps you communicate quicker than just 1 or 2 words. So that's what that was. And I won't go back over that. So I think we're okay there. Now, the next thing is this, to discuss the communication process, and this is some information that Scott alluded to yesterday, if you recall. It's the challenges that people have with a speech or language just when to communicate. So, for example, if you are, doing distance communication, or you're in the same room, or you're trading information on the email, there's complexities there. So when using the voice options tablet manager, individuals have the option to speak with individuals in a variety of settings. This may be the first time. They may have the opportunity to talk on the phone or carry on a conversation with an audible voice. So there's the complex communication needs, and when there are no discernible verbal or speech, others may use a little bit more verbal speech that could be understood, and is accompanied by, like signs, like, facial expression, gesture. So when you're in person, you can see these expressions. When you're, say, on the phone, you don't see those facial expressions. You don't see hand movements or whatever you have, and that actually is a form of communications. And then even when you're in an email, sending an email, you don't have the luxury of all that. So just being aware that depending on the environment you're in, there are challenges that need to be understood about how we communicate in these types of environment. And so, let me see here. That's just more of that. So just like we said, there's signs, facial expressions, gestures, vocalizations, context, and there could be communication devices that may play into this. And signs could be low-tech communication methods to communicate, and there could be communication devices that would be mid-tech or low-tech that could also play into this. So that's just was some phone scripts that was shown in that video. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about is some of the phone scripts, and there's a quick exercise right ahead here that we'll do and talk about phone scripts. Now, you say, what is a phone script? Well, the phone script is used to help us speed up communication, get the point across, control the conversation, or repair the breakdown. And this is some of the stuff that Scott had discussed yesterday, and we are going to do a phone script. But just before we do that, I wanted to go into one of the parts. I didn't have anywhere to put this slide, but this was an important slide that I want to do, and then we'll get right back into creating a phone script. And that was the downloading of templates. So I wanted to really touch on this. Go here. So, and in the books, there's some important templates that I'm going to walk you through right now that are used to help build out your communication books. And so I'm going to walk through those right now, and we'll just walk through them, because as we walk through them, you'll see how the Go Plus is entirely customizable for individuals, and it supports people who can create and edit communication templates that are available to download through what we call the online gallery. Because we are spending time here creating them, but a lot of them are already created. They may just need to be modified, and that's what we're going to be looking at right now, especially when we look at the phone script that we're going to be creating shortly. So let's just take a look at that. How do we get there? So what we do is I'm going to go back to the application to Go Talk Now, right here. And I'm still in a default book. So to get there, I'm going to go to the page editor. And this is important. I wish they would really have this feature on all the pages, but it only works one way. The way to get there, to get to downloading templates, you have to click on this page button. And if you're in a book, you have to go all the way down to the last page in the book. That's what I'm doing now. I'm going to the last page where it says yes or no. And when you do that, you have that little plus sign there on the right. This is the only place where you can add galleries and templates for these books. And no matter which communication book you're in or what page you're on, you have to go to the last page to get to this book, okay? So let's open that up. When you go plus, this is what you get. You see new pages. Again, these are just ways to further develop and create communication, communication templates. First is the online gallery. I clicked on there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's just some things that you should be aware of. The private gallery, I'm not going to go in there because it's always locked. But the featured attainment, you click on there, and here's some templates that you can use. For example, you can get tutorials, data, food choices. There's a lot of different things that you can pull in here. COVID-19, there's a plate there. And this all came, I think, from the Attainment Company. And speech, basic speech, food choices, and some other stuff, okay? So you can add that. If you want to add it, you click, download it, and it would add it into the communication book you're working on. Backing out. Curriculum. The Attainment Company is also giving you an opportunity to add these other tools. For example, English arts. There's some templates that you can use there. Read and tell, teaching, writing your story elementary style. There's other things, backing out. Social science, and there's transitions, okay? Exploring your community, exploring, so backing out. And I'm back out here. There's also the search button. I like the search button because this is where you can get to the world to figure out what's going on. I know for sure that CTech, I like them. So I'm going to type in CTech. If you search on that, they have some templates here too. And one of them is this voice options phone, right? Look at that, CTech. And it's already developed. So I'm just going to add that to the communication book, saying add, done. It's there. Phone chat right there. I can go ahead and modify this one by just clicking on the button, right? Text button, and put at the end where it says text, I can just put my name right there, right? Let me get out of there. Done. So this is a way to create a phone chat. There's other templates you can create. So this is one of those things. Again, to get back to that adding button, I'm going to click the pages, go all the way down to the bottom, and this one, K7, and I get the plus sign. Okay. Now, I'm trying to figure this out here. Hold on. Okay. Trying to see if that does move. You can also add at this particular juncture, you can add a keyboard. Now, keyboard is good. The keyboard page, I love this one because you can actually type in messages. It's hard to get out of this application, but you can type the messages as you go. So it has a lot of flexibility to type as you go and then make the words up that can be played in the player. And you can add that the same way. I've always find it hard to get out of here. The only way I know to get out of get after I see the keyboard is to press the home button. Hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And get back, and I have to go back to editor to get back there, go to the last page. That's how I get there. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware of, there it is, keyboard. I could type it in. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't mean to go back because it's hard to get out of this thing. Let me see here. Go 1, 2. I only know how to get out one way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not going to click on that anymore. Back to the page editor, back to pages, and then down to, well, I hope I don't have to do that one. Well, I don't want to get the keyboard because it'll be a mess, but that's where you add that gallery. Okay. So let's get out of this. Go back to the presentation. We're doing pretty good here. Let's see here. Okay. Now, I've just showed you how to complete a phone chat. You can do a phone chat or a phone script. If you go there, remember when I did the plus and I go to the internet, I could search on phone scripts and phone chat, and we can find them and just add them to the books and then modify them from there. And I've actually written out, I won't go through them, but everything that I just told you, I've actually written it out step by step. Got the numbers off. I see that now. It's at 7. It repeats again, but we will get that fixed. So it'd be 1 through 10. And that's how you create a page chat. And this is a page script and then a chat page. And I've written it all out for you there. Are there any questions about that? Okay, moving right along. Okay, and this is more of that same, it's adding communication books we just discussed. Let me get my notes here. Now, the jump to one, this is interesting. I wanted to show an example of a jump to. So, when we can swipe between pages or link other pages to manage conversations with the rate enhancement feature, many applicants come up with buttons programmed to link the pages. So when Go Talk Now Plus offers a slate to allow to complete the personalization and management of conversations, and it's the jump to. And I just want to kind of go through real briefly how that works. I'm going all the steps, but if I go back, because I actually have my book already set up for that. So I'm going to go back to the application. I'm in the Go Talk tab now. So if I go, let's see if I have my book here, which one it's called. Okay. Let me see here. Hold on. Well, I won't get into that because I've got to find the plates, but here's essentially what's happening here. So when you are in, I'm sorry, I'm going too fast here. I'll slow down. So from the home page, I'll click 1, 2, 3, 4 to get out of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm holding down the home button. 3. Okay, I'm back here. So I'm going to go tap my phone book, but I'm going to go to my default page. Default. Let me make sure I got the right one. So if I go to my default page, okay, go to editor, then I can just make the buttons jump from one page to another. So if I'm in a conversation, I'm just going to walk through it quickly with you. If I click on the cake button up here where it says actions, click on there. You see where it says jump to? I can change it. I can jump to from this page to another page. And that would be useful if you are having a conversation and you want something, you can go from I feel or I want to jump to something else and then feel and describe how you're feeling. But it would take a little more time to go through that, so I won't spend that time. But we will spell that out for you in more detail when we are doing our clips that we'll be saving to the DOR website. Okay, let me see where we're at. We're getting almost here. Let's see. We did, okay. There's one other function here, the page wizard. Let me just show you that really quick. I like that function. Let me see how we're doing time here. And I think we'll be pretty much done. So let's just look at the page wizard really quick. So if I go back into, go here, hold on. I'm going to go back, done. I'm gonna look in here, look at my last pages. To get to the page wizard, I gotta show you. I'm gonna make sure it's not keyboard. Oh yeah, this one has keyboard. So I'm gonna go back home because if I touch keyboard, let me see what happens. Oh, there's the plus sign up there. Remember, it's the last page in the book. because I want to be able to get to what we call hold on. Where was I at? Hold on. Just a second here. The keyboard. All right. Well, we went over the keyboard page. I'm sorry, we went over that. But there was a wizard we were talking. So see where it's at here? When I click the plus button, it's the wizard. I'm going to click that really quick. And the first thing you got to do is give it a title. It's called page 51 right now, but I'm just going to call it the wizard, W-I-Z-Z-A-R-D. And then I'm going to, whoops. I guess you want to name what you want to name. This thing will find icons and put text in it for you as a wizard. So just like I said, I'll go animals. I'll just show you how it works real quick. Won't take long. Animals, bicycle. If I spell it right. And then food. Now let's just go there. Okay, now we'll go up to the top and I'm just going to name it. Instead of page 51, I'm just going to call it wizard. Just want to show you how this function works. D. Now I'm just, oops, damn, got it. Let me try it again. Man, I hate these buttons are very sensitive. So it just doesn't leave any room for error. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go bicycle. Just want to show you animal and maybe food. You can choose anything you want to put in here, and this wizard will help you find it so that it'll make you a button. And then, so I will just call it wizard, W-I-Z-Z-A-R-D. And then I'm just going to touch on the wizard to get to the bottom here. Get to the bottom, and go. I think it's done. Well, it was, oh, I forgot. There's a button, I won't go back. There's a button you can check to go internet search, and it will fill in the photograph for you. And that's what would get here, and that's what helps you. And it's a wizard. It just does it all to one shot to make your buttons rather than you making them individually. Okay? Okay, let's see here. And the last thing is, I've already kind of discussed this, is you have the option to save all your templates to at the end to a Dropbox, and I'm going to show you real quickly how to do that. Go back to home, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And it's this up, back, up and down, back button, and that's where you would save your communication templates. Okay. And that's everything I have. We didn't go to the weeds through everything, but there's a lot of different things to play with in this application. And it's just a matter of just getting in there, playing with them and trying things out. At this point, is there any questions about this Go Talk Now Plus application? Anything at all? Like I said, it is a fun little application. As you build the books out, just going back in the books, I'm just touch on that again. It's just reading through here, saving them, making these books, and just playing with them and launching them to see how they play. Pictures are fun, and I think it just kind of makes the developing these communication books fun. And so when you're making those buttons, I think the pictures, the symbol sticks, all these things just help emphasize the buttons that you're choosing and make communications fun. So that's what I like. Okay, if there are no questions, I'm going to turn it back over to Kevin, and we'll be looking to, discuss our next application on Wednesday. Kevin?
Thank you, Carl, for your presentation. Appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll be meeting at 9:30, and we will spend the first couple minutes. Hopefully you'll have some time to play with the application Go Talk Now Plus. And then if you have any questions, Carl or the team will be able to answer those questions tomorrow for the first little bit of our meeting. And if no questions are presented or asked, then we will go into Proloquo for text. And we'll be able to start that training tomorrow, and that'll be presented by Scott Harris. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.